Hi reception, welcome to today's topic lesson. I hope you're excited because I am, and this bread is making me feel hungry. Okay, before we get started with today's learning, let's review what we did yesterday. So yesterday we talked about changes and we were looking at how food is often changed when it is cooked or prepared. Okay, and we talked about how you can change food by perhaps mixing it with other things, by cooking it, but also by things like chopping and squashing, grinding. That can change food, and it can change how it looks, how it smells, how it tastes, but definitely how it feels as well. So the texture of the food. Now, yesterday we used a grown-up science word. Are you ready for it? We said sometimes, or lots of times even, the changes are irreversible. Irreversible. Now, can you remember what that word means? Pause the video and just have a little chat with your helper about what you think it means. Oh, it was a big grown-up word, wasn't it? Some great answers there. So if the change is irreversible, that means you can't undo it. It's a permanent change. So that means, for example, when I made my toast yesterday, I started off with soft bread, but when I cooked it in the toaster, it changed and I couldn't turn my toast back into bread no matter what I did. It would always be toast. So that change was permanent or irreversible. Well done. Did you see any irreversible changes yesterday? Did you pause the video and tell your helper which one you saw when they were cooking? Wow, some great examples there. I heard that someone said they noticed that when their helper made some rice for their dinner, the rice grains, instead of being hard, they went really soft in the hot water and they changed colour and got a bit bigger as well. They plumped out. That was a really good example of a change. Right then, should we get started with today's learning? Okay, so what are we doing today? We're going to make a sandwich. What learning are we doing? I'll tell you. We are going to be learning about how to keep ourselves safe when we are preparing food. Keeping safe? Is a sandwich going to hurt us? Is it dangerous? No, it's not. So we're being safe in a different way. We are thinking about how to keep ourselves safe in two ways. How to keep ourselves safe from germs, and also how to keep ourselves safe from getting hurt when we're using different tools. So there are two parts to keeping safe we're going to think about today. Now, if you're going to be joining in with me and making a sandwich, you need to have ready with you 2 bits of bread, something to make the sandwich on, like a breadboard or a large plate, a butter knife. You may need a spoon. I've got a plate ready for my sandwich when it's done. And you're also going to need some butter or spread, some margarine, and a filling. And I've chosen this today. Do you know what this is? Jam. I like jam sandwiches. You might not like jam sandwiches. Everyone in my home, they like different things. You might prefer ham or cheese or tuna. You might even like salad in your sandwiches. Lots of people have lots of different preferences. Now, if you're choosing something like cheese or tuna, though, please be sure your grown-up has already grated it for you or cut it, or they are supervising you if they're happy for you to do it at home. Okay, and if you're having tuna, the grown-up needs to get that out of the tin ready for you. Okay. Now, you also need a helper with you. So if your helper isn't sitting next to you, you need to pause this video and say, Mrs. Hutt said you need to help me now. You got your pointy finger ready? Okay, go get them if they're not here, and then come back and join us. Okay, brilliant. So welcome helpers. If you just joined us, we are ready to start. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through all the stages of making a sandwich. And as I talk, I'm going to be kind of thinking and talking to you a little bit about how I'm keeping myself safe. Now, before I even started collecting these things, I did something to my hands. What do you think I did, reception? That's right, clever clogs. I washed my hands really thoroughly. I used lots of soap, warm water, and I washed all the sides in between. I counted to 20, and I got all the parts of my hands clean and washed it underneath the water and then dried it carefully. Then that's when I thought it'd be okay to go and touch my food and all my equipment. Why was it okay then? What did I do when I washed my hands? What did I get rid of, reception? Correct, I did. I got rid of all the dirt that was on my fingers and also any germs or bacteria that could be there. Germs and bacteria are very tricky. You can't see them. And they're all around us. And some germs, bacteria is fine. It doesn't cause us any harm. In fact, some of them even help our bodies. However, some do make us poorly. And that's why we have to wash our hands just in case any of those nasty germs or bacteria are hiding on our fingers. So I gathered my equipment, the things I was going to use, and I gathered my ingredients. Now, I also made sure that everything I was using was clean too, because there's not much point getting my clean hands and my clean bread and then putting on a dirty board. I need to make sure it's clean too. So, are you ready to start? My hands are washed. If your hands aren't washed, pause the video and go wash them now, and then come back. Okay, what I'm going to do first. So, the tools I'm going to use first is the butter knife. Now, these aren't really sharp. There are sharper knives in your kitchens, but we still need to be careful. We could still hurt ourselves, couldn't we, if we weren't really careful? So I'm going to get a little bit of bread. It's not bread, Mrs. Hutt. This is butter. Sorry, Mrs. Hutt was obviously very hungry and needs to eat her sandwich. I'm going to get some butter, and I'm going to carefully spread it on the bread. Here's how I'm going to do it. Keep my fingers out of the way of the knife, and then I'm going to spread across. See? Move my fingers out the way. And I'm not going to do it too quickly, because if I do things quickly, that's probably when I'm going to have an accident. Okay, I've got butter on that side. Get a bit more on my knife, and you can be buttering yours now if you like. And if you need a bit more time, just pause the video and finish it off. Oh, need to move my fingers out the way a little bit. There we go. Okay. This is going to taste good. Okay, I'm going to put my knife back on the board. I'm going to put it on the table because I haven't cleaned that as well. So I'm going to keep it on the board. That's to make sure that I don't get any more germs from the table on my knife, because then it'll go into my sandwich. Okay, what's next? Okay, I'm going to use a spoon now. Now, I'm going to use a spoon because, and people do this differently. This is how I do it at home, and you might do it differently, and that's fine. But I use a clean spoon because I don't want to put any germs into my jam. And I don't want to use my knife because it might get butter and crumbs in it, and I'm a bit fussy. So I'm going to scoop some jam. How much do you think I need? Oh, that smells yummy. I wonder what you're putting in your sandwich. Nice dollop on the middle. There we go. Put my spoon down on the board, not the table. Put my lid on my jam because if I leave the lid off, things could fall in, couldn't they? We don't want that. We don't want germs or bacteria falling in, or even bits of old food and things. We want to keep our jam nice and clean. And I'm going to spread. And this is a bit harder, so wish me luck. Okay, squish it down. Squish, squish. And you need to be quite gentle reception, because if you push too hard, you can end up with a hole in your bread. You can still eat it, but then the jam might sneak out or the cheese might fall out. So try and be really gentle. And I'm just moving my knife carefully around, not too fast, keeping an eye on my fingers. I don't want to cut my fingers. There we go. Okay, knife back down. That's my last stage. I've got to put my sandwich together. So flip it over. And I'm being really careful not to touch things with my hands. So I'm not walking around the room. I'm not touching things on the floor and then coming back to my sandwich. I'm just making my sandwich in one go. So I'm not going to have any risk of getting germs on my fingers. Okay, now this part, I need to be careful. I don't want to hurt my fingers. And this part is actually quite tricky. It takes lots of practice. So I'm going to hold my sandwich and I'm going to carefully cut. I'm not going to cut towards myself. I could poke my tummy, couldn't I? I'm not going to cut towards my fingers. Oh, that could hurt my fingertips. I wouldn't want to hurt myself, would I? I'm going to cut away from myself. So I'm going to point the knife actually towards the camera. You ready? And I'm just going to gently saw along. And I'm keeping my fingers out of the way as well. There we go. Now I've cut my one whole sandwich into half, into 2 equal parts. Bit of maths there too, reception. Oh, my sandwich is ready. Okay, I'm going to put it on the plate because the plate is nice and clean. And then I think I'm nearly done. Do you think I'm done, or is there something else I need to do? What do you think? Oh, well done, reception. Do I just put these back in the drawer? No. Do I just leave all my things out here? No. I need to clean away, don't I? I need to clean everything up to make sure that it's clean for the next time I need to use it. So what I'm going to do when I'm finished with the video is I'm going to pop these in the sink and give them a little wash. And then I'm going to eat my sandwich. Should we see if it tastes nice? Is yours ready? Should we have a bite together? Are you ready? Who can do the biggest bite? Ready? I think it's me. That is a 10 out of 10 jam sandwich. Oh, I'm being rude. Mustn't talk with our mouth full, should we? That was really nice. Does your sandwich taste good? Fantastic. Right, before you have another bite, let's just quickly talk about the things we've talked about today. We have talked about when we are making food, we need to try and keep ourselves safe. Now, what do we mean by that word safe? Pause the video and tell your helper. That's right reception. We need to keep ourselves safe because we don't want to put any germs or bacteria onto our food and then put them into our bodies, which could then make us poorly. We also need to keep ourselves safe in terms of the tools we're using, so making sure we're being really sensible and careful if we're using knives and things like that. Okay, so we can keep ourselves safe by the way we use the tools. Reception, well done. Hope you've liked making your sandwich. Perhaps you can help your helpers at home to make some different foods later. You can help prepare some of dinner, perhaps, if it's safe to do so. Remember though, what must you do first of all? Wash your hands. Well, reception. Go enjoy your sandwich. It's going to be delicious. I'll speak to you soon. Bye now.